It's Greg again, sharing some of the practices I've developed doing Power Automate work development. One of the things that I do is in all parent flows, ones that are scheduled or run based on an event, at the end, there's an option to create what I call a run log. So here I am in kind of the user admin site. I have another site that is for pure admins, and then actual applications, things that people do, like we manage workshops and so forth, are in different sites. This one is designed to contain a bunch of configurable information that, users might find interesting. So I've got content blocks. I've got these things called email profiles. I'll get around to doing sessions on them. But this is just an item that I create programmatically. There's a flow that accepts some information and writes it to a document at the end. So if I open this thing, you'll see that it's captured the name of the flow. That comes from the workflow function. It has a title there. It shows the date. And if I come down here, this is all the content from what I call a flow context. It's an object that gets passed between invocations, and error messages can be written here. And I capture the workflow function at the highest level, and we can see here that this one ended in an error. Here's a message. This is an older format that I use. But it's pretty hard to read. So what you can do now is just copy that into GenAI and have it give you information, help you identify error objects, see if it can figure out what happens. You could create an agent in Microsoft that refers to your documentation so it can help people resolve the issue. What I've done is inside the flow that creates that, there's an option to call an LLM, and I have it create HTML that isolates all the stuff that I want. So it shows me the error here. This is the flow name, call successful by key. So it wasn't able to, I basically know what this means, but we should be writing, probably most of us, our code more for maintainability than like elegance or performance. Those things are important as well. But if something goes wrong, you want somebody to be able to go somewhere and find it. And you can see that this has a return code of error. I have another setup, I'll show that in a video, where I can pull these things and then send emails. So once there's an error, I could notify somebody. Let's say if it hasn't been addressed in some period of time, if 2 errors happen in a row, whatever I want to do. And I just think this is good practice, something to think about. How do you capture error information? How do you capture the state of the execution environment so that if something goes wrong, you're not just going into the history and trying to dig through that, because while it can be helpful, it's much better to have these high level kind of messages defined. So I hope that's helpful to somebody. You can start simple and just write error messages there and write it at the end. I recommend creating a flow that does the whole thing. Then any flow can call it, passing, the parameters that it needs, like the, elements for the title, the name of the flow, the return code. There you go.